Former Ring of Honor champion Davey Richards, formerly of the American Wolves, has announced that he will come out of retirement. Richards, who turned just 38 this past March, will join Major League Wrestling MLW as they gear up for a fall premiere of their new show on Vice TV. He said in an interview that, quote, I was blown away, quite frankly, when asked about my return. That was a lot bigger. There were a lot of bigger promotions that reached out to me. I was very, very humbled by that. I've always looked at wrestling as more of a sport than entertainment. I think you should be so good at wrestling that it's entertaining, and that's just my philosophy. MLW was really in line with that way of thinking and how they present their product. It's more sports-oriented. It was a more organic fit. It just clicked right off the bat more than all the other places at this time. So Trevor, we have Davey Richards, one of the best wrestlers in the world. At one point, the best wrestler in the world, I think back in 2011. He was great. With Davey Richards joining MLW and the brand getting a new show on Vice, there's a lot of hype about it. There's a lot of intrigue behind the MLW product. What do you make of it? What do you think about MLW now having Davey Richards potentially reaching out to Braun Strowman, having a new premiere on Vice? What do we make of it?
I think that is the move they needed, man. It definitely is. Like you said, back in 2011, he was arguably one of the best wrestlers in the world. And to have a name like that on your promotion, like one of the bigger names in the business, on your promotion like that, that makes other bigger names pay attention. You know what I mean? That makes other bigger names pay attention. And not only that, it makes the fans pay attention. And like Davey Richards, what a stand-up dude, right? Like to honestly sit there and say, I've got an offer from other promotions, but this is where I want to be. I want to help make this a name, make this a place where other people want to work and want to watch. Like, I mean, that says it all right there, man. And that's why I suggested that we talk about this, because I thought this was a feel good story that should be announced to people who didn't know about it. Like this is good to hear. It's good for wrestling. It's good for wrestling. It's good for MLW. Honestly, I think with Davey Richards aboard, he's going to help get bigger names. And honestly, I can't wait for it to come on. I'm actually getting more excited the more I read about it.
Yeah, Davey Richards joining MLW, I think, is indicative of something we've talked about for a while, and that is the wrestling business right now is flourishing. Outside of WWE, outside of AEW, the wrestling business is doing amazing. MLW has a TV deal. NWA has a deal with Fight TV for Power. You have all these indies that are going to come back. You have Dark Elevation, by the way, which has kept the indie scene alive and the talents, fed and paid. So that's great. But man, it's indicative of why it's so exciting right now to be a wrestling fan. There's so much to watch, so much different stuff to watch. And you can be a fan of all of it. PWG is returning, but Davey Richards going to MLW, I think it adds a legitimacy for that company, because from hardcore wrestling fans and from that community, and I think that's good. And we'll see what they can do with their new deal on Fox. One of the things that coming out of this I want to get your opinion on is, what do you think about, wrestling being presented as more of a sport than soap opera, as Richards mentioned? Because, sometimes, given how wrestling has evolved over time, recently especially, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes people go overboard with the soap opera. Look at WCW in 2000 or TNA or WWE right now. Sometimes they tend to go overboard with soap opera. But what do you think about the more, the more sports-oriented feel that MLW is trying to bring?
I think it makes the product look more real. I think it makes you feel good to see. Like, I mean, these guys aren't just like actors and actresses. You know what I mean? These are actual athletes, and what they do in the ring is not easy. I mean, sometimes they get seriously hurt. Sometimes they never wrestle again. Sometimes it happens. But like, to make it actually more of a sports oriented feel, I think it helps your product tenfold, honestly. Because what you do is, by making your product more sports oriented, you make it better than a lot of the other products that are just soap opera and story related. I mean, you have to keep a story in there too, but like when you see more athletics and things like that, it makes you feel a little different about the product because it's more of a sport at this point, and people love sports. I mean, there are a lot of people that enjoy sports. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it helps the product.
And I think what Richards was kind of pointing to, as far as more of a sports feel, it's kind of like in sports, there's like these innate storylines that are built in with the competition that's going on.
Exactly.
And I think that's kind of what he's hinting to. And if you go back to what Ring of Honor was doing when he was there, I think that's kind of also what he was doing. Like, there's still like it's wrestling, it's a show.
Yeah,
You're still going to have storylines, but they're going to be interesting. They're going to be, for the most part, serious and reality driven. I think that's what Richards wants, and I think that's what a lot of fans these days are craving after being shoved, hands and Katie Vick for years. I think it's good for fans that we're finally getting more of a sports and realistic feel, especially in the United States, because Japan's had it for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.